With reading today in this video, and then I'm going to move to social studies. So first I need reading notebooks out. You should have some information on theme, T-H-E-M-E, theme. So that's what you're looking for in your notebook. We've talked about it. We're going to review here a little bit about theme before we get started. Reading notebooks, finding your notes on theme. If you don't have notes on theme, then I suggest you write some down or you're going to add some notes to it. This way. Yeah. I don't remember. I'm going to have to flip through and find it. Got it?
Wait, did we do visualizing before?
I have no idea. Flip through your notebooks and look, guys. You have eyes. You can look. I don't remember. It's been a while, so towards the beginning somewhere. All right. What is theme? Let's first talk about that. What is it? Maya? Yeah, it's a message. So it's something we're trying to learn from the characters. We're trying to learn in the story. Okay, that's what theme is. So here I have a list of some common themes. Okay, this says it's one big idea. Okay, so you start with kind of a word, a thought. Okay, the theme of this story is determination, honesty, fears. Okay, whatever that one word is. And then from there you're going to kind of expand on that particular word to come up with a sentence that states what the theme is. So here are some common ones. Growing up, courage, family and friendship, we probably see that one a lot. Perseverance, it's a popular one. Acceptance, being accepted into a group or accepting who you are. Compassion, what's that word mean? What's compassion mean? Ooh, Kenny?
Like you care for?
Yeah, showing somebody that you care or caring about something, right? Sacrifice, dreams, honesty. I'm not going to read all of them, but here's a few words. Okay. So let's think about, it says think about the piece you are reading. Find my arrow here. Well, we're reading Where the Red Fern Grows, right? Okay. So think back to some of the themes that might be in Where the Red Fern Grows. And you could come up with a lot of things. There are a lot of different things we could learn from Billy, right, and his family. What are some things we might learn from Billy? And those might change as we go through the story. In the beginning of the story, we might have learned something. The middle of the story, we're approaching the end. What have we learned from Billy, Adam? He does have courage, right? He's done a lot to show us he has courage. Give me some other words, Riker.
He's kind and caring.
Okay, kind and caring. Sean?
Determination.
Determined. He's definitely determined. We've seen that a lot. John? Okay, he shows a lot of loyalty, not only to his dogs, but to his family, doesn't he? And we might say compassion towards his family. Okay, we've seen a lot of that. Kenny, did you have one?
He had dreams.
He did have dreams, right? And what happened because he persevered and he was determined and hardworking? What happened to those dreams? They came true. So that's a kind of a big one we can learn, right, from him. Okay. Nick, other thoughts?
I mean, in the beginning, it was hope because he hoped he was going to be able to get the dogs.
Right, that was his dream, right? His dream was to have those dogs, and he worked hard to make that dream happen. John?
He's fearless.
He is pretty fearless, isn't he? Right, he didn't let too much hold him back to accomplish the dream and then to continue and do other things he probably thought he'd never get to do, right? And we just read about one of those yesterday. What did we read about yesterday? What did he do successfully? Maya?
He won the, hunting competition. Yeah.
He wanted to what?
He won the hunting competition.
Right, he won that hunting competition, and that was something that wasn't necessarily on his mind as we were reading the story. Grandpa brought that up, right, to him, and he was successful at it. Okay, what might we learn from Grandpa? Don't have to just learn from Billy. What can we learn from Grandpa? He's a big part of this story. Nick?
That He is like nice, kind of.
He is.
He likes hunting.
He does. Juliana?
Supportive.
He is very supportive, right? It helped Billy to have somebody that was so supportive of his dreams and his ambitions. Okay, without Grandpa, he may not have been successful at all in this story.
Yeah, because he wouldn't.
Okay? Right, finding somebody who's very supportive of you, you can lean on and talk to them, right? And they might help you find your dreams. Sean?
Maybe you could learn to like wait and be patient from him because he wasn't very patient, and then that kind of affected him.
Who wasn't? Grandpa wasn't patient? When wasn't he patient? Elaborate for me. Give me some evidence.
On the coon hunt, that he kept trying to get Billy to move to his dog.
Oh, good. Yeah, he was kind of pushing, wasn't he? I think Grandpa did, or Papa did a little too, didn't he? They kind of were impatient and trying to tell Billy what to do, and Billy was like, nope, I got this, I know what I'm doing, right? So I think somebody mentioned Billy was courageous, right? Fearless. So that was kind of him, like he knew what to do, right? And he wasn't afraid to tell Grandpa and Papa, you know what, I got this. Okay, and it was okay. They understood and saw that he did have that. Kenny?
He was like a friend to Billy.
He was. He was a good friend, wasn't he? Not just a grandpa, but a good friend to Billy. So here are some questions it says you might think about. What questions does the piece of writing make you have? So as we read this story, what are some things you were thinking about? What are some questions that you had? I think there's a paper. I'm trying to think if I put it in your packet or not. I think I did. At the back of your packet, it says any questions. We haven't finished the story yet, but so far, what are some thoughts? What are some questions you have about this story? Juliana?
Why did he pick the title Where the Red Fern Grows?
Oh, we are still wondering about that title, aren't we? Where the Red Fern Grows, and that comes into play at the very end of the story. Okay? That's a good question, though, since we're not there yet. Okay? And at the end of the story is when it's revealed, but at the same time, I think it's a little more than just where it grows. Okay? And you'll see that as we read that last chapter. We'll read the last 2 chapters tomorrow of this book, and then we can really think about our theme, which is what I want you to do. That's why we're going over theme today. Okay? I want you to think about it now. We're not quite done, but thinking about some of the themes that you have learned, some of the things you've learned from this story. Okay? We already named quite a few. So what answers does the piece provide? Well, we're kind of getting there, right? We don't have an answer to why it's called that, what this whole red fern has to do with this story.
Yeah.
Okay, all we know are Billy and his dreams came true, right? He's been successful with his coon hounds. Okay, and we're kind of seeing where it takes him.
Is a red fern a plant?
It is. What problem or conflict is the main character trying to deal with or solve? Do we see a lot of problems right now for Billy?
Not right now.
Not right now, right? They've kind of been solved as we go through. His main problem at the beginning of the story was what? Getting the dogs, right? And he worked to do that. He was determined. How long did he have to save to get those dogs? Claire? 2 years he saved. How much did he save? How much, Brendan? He's $50, right? And then what was kind of a surprise when he went to buy those dogs? Adam? Yeah, the price was less, so he had an extra $10, which we learn a lot about Billy when he goes into town to get those dogs, right? Because what does he do with those $10? I know my son would spend it on himself.
Yeah, I would.
He would buy something silly for one of his games, but what did Billy do? Ava? Shh. Right, he bought stuff for his family, right? His sisters, he bought candy for them, overalls for his dad, and then for his mom, he got her cloth, because I think she was gonna make a dress, right? And she wanted cloth, and that was why he bought that. So he was very kind and compassionate in that way. I don't have those up here. Thinking of his family, right? He got what he wanted, which were those dogs. So he got things that his family needed. Okay, Riker?
Imagine, like now, things were as cheap as it was back then.
Right? That would
Like
be crazy.
$10 for all of that.
But if that were the case, money would be like, people wouldn't, right, it'd be harder to get. You wouldn't make as much working a job as people do today.
Today,
So it balances that way.
$10 would
Okay.
probably be like more like $50.
Right. Eli, raise your hands, please. What's that?
Back then,
$300 was a lot.
Yeah, that
so-
was like
Think
over
about you.
$1,000.
Yeah, and he got $300 for what? Good thing Eli brought that up. Why did he get $300, Canyon?
He won the contest.
Right, the coon hunting contest he won, and they collected all that money, and it ended up being $300.
They bought a mansion.
What impression does the piece give you as a whole? We haven't quite finished reading it, but we're close, so impression. So what does it make you think about? Okay. What does it leave you thinking? How does it make you feel? Those kinds of things you're going to think about. Did any of the main characters' questions get answered?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that Billy, I mean, his question or his problem was the dogs, right? Okay, and at the beginning of the story, he's just kind of reminiscing, right? Thinking about this time. Okay, did the main characters realize anything? I don't know. We'll get to the end of the story and see if they realize anything else. What do you think Grandpa and Papa realized though at this contest? What did they realize? We kind of talked about it already. John? Okay, and that Billy knows his dogs, doesn't he? And we see too at the beginning of the story that Papa starts to treat Billy differently, doesn't he? Because Billy feels that way too, that Papa sees him as a man as opposed to just a boy. So he's growing up, he's getting older, and he's become more mature. Do some of the smaller details have greater meaning? I think so. You know, we just talked about Billy spending that $10 on his family. I think that was important. Okay, those details are important. Did the minor characters provide any answer? So minor characters might be Papa, his sisters, his mom. Did they provide any answers? What do you think? Do they add to the story? I think they do, right? They give us answers to Billy's character, right? And who he is. Okay. So, summarize. We got to finish reading the piece, and then we'll go back and think about this. I want to get to, there's another page here. There we go. So here we have, instead of just one word, we have some bigger sentences or phrases, okay, about theme. So let's look, take a minute, read through the ones I have up here, see if any of them apply to our story right now.
Oh, now I remember.
I got some hands already. Keep reading, see what else we come up with. Oh, I see a good one.
Yes, and
All right, I got a few hands up here. Kenny, we'll start back there with you. Go ahead. Which one?
Don't be too quick to judge. Like at the store, all the hunters were making fun of the dogs and saying that they couldn't be as good as Billy says they could because they're so small and then he won the contest.
Good. Yeah, they do, don't they? They kind of give Billy a hard time about his dogs and say that they're not really doing those things. And here we turn around and see Billy win this contest because his dogs are pretty amazing, aren't they? Good. Brendan?
I found two.
Go ahead. Give me one, though, for now.
Friends come to know take me sizes
Oh, right here? Okay. Because that's a good one. Go ahead.
because old Dan was a little bit bigger than little Ann, but little Ann was stronger.
And they were both what? They weren't people, right? What
Yeah.
were they? Were friends to Billy for sure, but they were dogs, right? So they were not friends you necessarily would think about. When I think of a friend, I think of a person, right?
Yeah.
We're here for Billy. You might say Grandpa was a friend, right? Okay, but here it was definitely his dogs. Good. That's a good one too. Adam? Which one? Sorry.
Family is always there for you.
Oh, yes. So tell me why. Here it is. Family is always there for you. Yeah, Mom was always there, huh? Mom was always looking over him. Take a minute next to you or to your partner. Tell them what ones you think are good ones. We'll get to some more.
You're having a really nice discussion all night. Good. And then you I'm like, Josh, what you said all right. It's like you had some things in it that were really good, and then you like, oh no. So, I don't know, it just seems like he has a hard time organizing this.
Okay, and that's what I'm gathering from some of his responses to the questions. It's there, but he's having a hard time transferring it into words.
Well, I was kind of, at the beginning, I was like, okay. You gave me a whole bunch of examples of love and loyalty, and I said, but you didn't really state at the beginning, what you were choosing. You said you were with the dog who was at home. And I said, you need to say that it's love and everything else supports it. You're like completely ridiculous. It's like, feels so bad, but it's like it was good. It was better before I told him that he needed to. At least his supporting stuff was good, and then
I'm glad it was a good conversation.
it wasn't.
Good. I'm glad you heard that. We're talking about theme, Josh. They've got their notebooks out and we're looking at themes for themes, okay? All right, let's see. Let's get a few more. 2 more. Nick?
Yes. Slow and steady wins the race.
Say that again. Slow and steady wins the race. I see it now. Go ahead. Why?
He had to wait 2 full years to get his
Oh.
dogs, and now his dogs are really good hunters.
Good.
And they won him in competition.
I like that you're thinking of a race as a little different than a running race, right? It was kind of a race for him to get those dogs, and he wasn't really running, was he? Or racing in any way, but it was something he wanted to do, something he wanted to accomplish. So that's how we're thinking of race here. Something he wanted to accomplish was getting those dogs, and it was slow and steady. Good. Yes.
Let me get out my notebook.
Yeah. Juliana.
The grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Grass isn't always greener. I remember seeing it. Go ahead. Tell us why.
Because
Here it is.
there isn't always good things, like there's bad things that happen and good things that happen.
Okay,
So-
and there are in this story, aren't there? There are a lot of good things and bad things. I have one to ask you about, Riker. Are you ready? I noticed choices in life have consequences for you and others. Why would I say that could be a theme for this story? What am I thinking about? Maya?
When he ran away to get his dogs,
Okay.
his family was terrified and his mom was crying and his sisters were worried and his dad was freaking out.
Good. So that was a consequence for him and others, right? Okay, and he was lucky the marshal came along and helped him, but his family was worried about him. That was a consequence for them. Good. There's another one I'm thinking of. Sean?
With Ruben's death.
Yes. So that was a consequence, right? And you might say Grandpa and Billy were to blame because Grandpa kind of set the whole bed up. But either way, Billy agreed to it, and so did the 2 boys, right? The other 2 boys. And there were consequences for Billy. He felt terrible, right? Grandpa felt terrible. Okay, and Reuben lost his life. So here you have kind of major consequences due to those actions. Okay? Kenny?
I was gonna say the one time when he went Dan and go like alone, and then Dan slipped on the ice, like he like a little bit further than usually. Like,
Okay. When
Dan slipped on the ice and fell in.
she was kind of hanging on, right? And he had to go in and save her. Okay? So he faces some consequences with his dogs and the choices that he makes and kind of allows them that freedom, right? Good. All right, those are good ones. There are plenty more here, but we're not going to look at all of these. But I wanted you to see that a story can have several themes, right? Especially this one. It had a lot. And all of you were able to back that up with evidence. Okay? And we know evidence is important. Okay? You had good thoughts. You had some good evidence to support those themes. So I want you to keep that in mind. These themes, some of the ones we talked about, as we finish this story. Okay? All right. With that, you might have, and I will post this if you want me to post this on Schoology. I'll put that up there for you. It's not there right now. Then you can look at it and kind of think about some other things, other themes. Today, a couple of things here. Don't forget your February book report. That's posted here to the end of the month. Remember, there are no other requirements for the book report. Pick 2 books. They can be off of Epic. And then answer the questions for book 1 and then the questions for book 2. Okay? Question on book reports, Riker?
Can they be like football or sports?
Yeah, they can be whichever kind you prefer. Okay, I'm not putting any requirements on the February book reports, just as long as you read 2. Now, they shouldn't be like 5 pages. I think somebody asked me that the other day. Okay, they should be a good length book. But if it's a nonfiction, so not fake, a sports book or something like that, it's probably going to be shorter. You
Yeah,
cannot
those
use the
are-
Redfern book.
Those are 35 pages.
Which is fine.
Finally, but
Yeah.
they have like a lot of information.
Yeah, but they have a ton of information that you're trying to dig through and learn about. Other questions, Wyatt?
Would like the Plants vs. Zombies book be good for the...
I'll have to look at it. You can show it to me. Probably. We'll look at it though. Brendan?
So, I'm reading a book right now,
Okay.
and I started answering the questions, and I was looking through. What if for the book I'm reading, it doesn't answer two of the questions? What do you mean? Would I have to do another book?
I wouldn't say do another book. What are the questions that you're... So what book are you reading?
If you want to screen record, I'm reading, let me go ahead.
Okay. While he's doing that, so some of these questions pertain mostly to fiction books, it looks like, because it's asking for characters and plots.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you're picking some kind of non-fiction book, I would do my best to try and answer them anyways. Okay? And see what you can come up with. Because if you're reading a sports book, there's still going to be some kind of a main character, or characters in general they're talking about. And that character might be a whole team. Okay? You like the Philadelphia Eagles, right?
No, he does.
Oh.
The Falcons.
The Falcons. Okay, I knew one of you over there did. So if that's the main character, that's fine. It doesn't have to be like a story we're reading now. Okay, do your best. So the plot would be beginning, middle, and end. Just tell me what's happening in the book. Okay, so think about things that you could still answer them. Okay, if it's your point of view might just be a first or third person narrator of some sort.
Wait, what?
Okay, Kenny?
So I was reading a book in
Riker.
January, and like I didn't use it for my book report, and I only have like, and once this was like, and I only had like 5 pages left,
Okay,
and like,
and you want to use it for one of these? That's fine.
So yeah, can I use it?
Yeah, that's fine. If it's a book that you're finishing up and you didn't use it for any of the other book reports, that's fine. Eli?
We do a llama red pajama.
No,
Why?
because now we're just being silly.
My childhood.
Nope.
That's the problem.
You need a book at your level right now.
It is at my level.
All right. Go ahead, Brendan. Go ahead. Well, you'll have to show me in a little bit. Let me finish getting through this, okay? All right, so today's reading assignment is just a quiz, 14 through 18 quiz. Okay, and you'll do that here in a minute. There is one question that requires you to do some typing, so make sure you're, gentlemen, putting the question and the answer, restating, and using complete sentences. Okay? And then, today for social studies, you're reading Chapter 8, Lesson 5, okay, which you should have done the vocab people places for that yesterday after your quiz. And today you have, let me find it down here. There it is, Chapter 8, Lesson 5 notes. So you're going to click on that. You're going to open the attachment. It's not going to automatically open it for me. There it is. So you're going to use these questions to guide your reading. Okay, some of them I did questions. Some of them I'm kind of telling you to come up with your questions and summarize those pages. Okay, we're getting to that point where we've done a lot of notes together. Okay, I've laid it all out for you where all you're doing is answering questions. Now we have to kind of build that independence and you're going to see what's important. Okay, and then tomorrow we'll go over that. And we'll do a workbook page on 8.5. So you are reading for social studies, Chapter 8, Lesson 5, and taking notes. You are submitting it back to this assignment, okay? So a reading quiz and a social studies Lesson 5 notes submission for today. Questions on today's assignments? If it's something specific, then I'll get to those questions in a minute, okay? If you're curious about a book, for your book report, you can always message me or let me know and we'll decide from there. Okay?
I didn't
All right.
know